I've got the latest and greatest Ripple and XRP news and information. I am Crypto Sensei. Welcome to the channel. Let's get into the information today. It's going to be a jam-packed video. If you get any value out of the video, you can hit like. And if you're not subscribed, come think about subscribing. All right. So Jeremy Hogan believes the Ripple and SEC case have a secret settlement. Now, what's happening behind the scenes here is a few things. When the judge made her decision, of course, she said XRP is not a security, but she also went after Ripple for a $125 million fine. Remember, the SEC wanted $2 billion. The judge did $125 million, as well as Ripple is not able to sell to institutional clients their XRP anymore. So Ripple's seeing all of these other cases being dropped that don't involve fraud. They want a better judgment than what was handed down. I've talked about this in previous videos, but that is why we probably don't have a settlement quite yet that has been announced. I think they're still working on it, but Jeremy Hogan believes that that stuff has already been talked about and an agreement has been reached. So that's really good and exciting news. Versan also put this out. It says XRP's value isn't just in the asset. It's the protocol that powers RippleNet, bridging financial systems, digital assets, and tokenized economies. Remember, I tell you this often on my channel, the real value will not come from me and you speculating on XRP's price. The real value will come in when we can start tokenizing billions, if not trillions of dollars in value on the XRP ledger. That is where real utility price will come from, and that is exactly what I am waiting for. Let's play this.
Ripple protocol, unlike others, has a clear set of rules and guidelines that govern the functioning of that blockchain network. And that's how that consensus is reached amongst other nodes and other financial institutions. So there is a unique incentive to use this technology. And that's why we see some of the world's largest organizations working very closely with Ripple. Yep. And let's clarify, what is blockchain? Blockchain is really just an accounting mechanism. It's a digital ledger that keeps the perfect track record of every transaction going on. So blockchain is nothing more than an updated financial payment rail. And the banks have adopted the Ripple protocol using XRP, which is the secret to solving the global payments issue, because it offers a number of advantages over traditional payment methods. And here's
really quickly, remember, Swift has upgraded their infrastructure to Swift GPI, which can handle a lot of payments in 30 minutes or less, or under a 24-hour period. A lot of those payments still go through that system, but it is still very costly. So we still have this very siloed system around the world. You need the bigger banks to have the smaller banks use their rails. And it's just very, very difficult to move value very cheaply around the planet. And that is what XRP solves at the highest level.
Some key benefits: speed, cost, liquidity, security, and interoperability. These are the kind of advantages that have led to the growing adoption of the Ripple protocol and XRP by financial institutions, as they look for a more efficient and cost-effective way to do and settle cross-border payments. And that's again why we see Ripple solving a real problem. And we see the institutions embracing crypto, but they're not really talking about what's going on. But we are paying attention, unlike the Bitcoin maxis who won't even listen to the other side of the story.
As an example, Ripple with RippleNet are set out to achieve, right? So lower costs, faster, more transparency, and greater access. And I think one of the big questions here is, what happens with the correspondent banking model? I think the role that the banking system plays is crucial in the global economy, and I think that will continue. But the sort of traditional model of pre-funding accounts, for liquidity purposes, nostro vostro accounts. I mean, it's proven that part of the correspondent banking model is not needed.
That part of the current banking model is not needed. Basically, what you're having is value locked up all around the planet in all of these different bank accounts, so money moves around the planet that way. It's the correspondent banking system that we've had for the last several decades, and it just is slow, expensive, and it's hard. Once you send a payment internationally, it's very difficult to get some information on where that payment is, how long it's actually going to take, and how much you're actually going to be charged once that payment gets there. It's a really outdated system. Of course, using Ripple and XRP, you're going to get a quote before you even send that payment, how much it's going to cost. And that value will get to where it's going in 3 to 5 seconds. Listen, there's somebody, I can't remember the gentleman's name. I do apologize. And you're probably going to let me know down in the comments, but he works for a company that's been working with Ripple for a long time. They moved $50 million for like 30 cents. Just take that into some perspective. $50 million for 30 cents. If you were doing that through a normal banking rail, even if they charged you 1-2%, that is an enormous amount of money that you're missing out on or losing because of that. So as you can see, XRP is recognized and praised by the IMF, the BIS, the World Economic Forum, BRICS, JP Morgan, Bank of America, Bank of England, Fidelity, Goldman Sachs, Santander, American Express, Standard Chartered, Grayscale, BlackRock, Vanguard, Citibank, HSBC, USB, Deutsche Bank, BNY Mellon, SBI Holdings, MasterCard, Visa, SWIFT, World Bank, Federal Reserve via collaborations, European Central Bank, also known as the ECB, Monetary Authority of Singapore, Reserve Bank of India, Saudi Arabia Monetary Authority, also known as SAMA, Dubai Financial Services Center, DIFC, Tokyo Mitsubishi UFJ, SEB Bank, Interbank, Australian Stock Exchange, NASDAQ, Arab Monetary Fund, Qatar National Bank, Canadian Imperial Bank, Commerce Bank, Westpac, Ripple Liquidity Hub, and hundreds of ODL partners worldwide. And this is not even a complete list, right? Right? How are you not excited about the future holding XRP? I always get people bitching about the price and this and that. Think larger than tomorrow, okay? Think about the future. Nobody gets rich in a day. It takes time for technology to be, evolve in any type of economy, right? Right now, crypto has, this very skewed view of it due to people that are ignorant about blockchain going out on their platforms and talking shit about crypto. That is the biggest problem we have right now. And a lot of that does stem from Democrats who don't fully understand cryptocurrency coming out and bashing it. Listen, I get that cryptocurrency is used for illicit activity. So is the US dollar. The currency in the world that is most used for illicit activities, right, is the $100 bill. So realistically, crypto doesn't even compare to the scale of fraud, manipulation, and all this other stuff that's happening, not only by, shadowy figures, right? I don't want to get this video shadow banned because I'm going on a rant here, but shadowy figures, right? In any economy, right? Drug dealers, those types of people, arms people, fake passports, IDs, all those types, right? And then you also have the big banks who are manipulating, right? And whales that are manipulating, right? There's a lot of other fraud that is happening in our economies other than cryptocurrency. It's a very small comparison. All right. I will get off the soapbox. Let's play this. So Riz put this out. Biggest distraction in history is Bitcoin. That is a fact. Let me play this.
Bitcoin is the greatest distraction from the greatest disruption that is coming to financial services. I think AI is probably the other big disruption there. But and there's so much noise around a lot of things like FTX and others. But if you bring the technology down to its core value, it does three things. One is it allows a payment mechanism. Number two, it allows smart contracts to be programmed into the token. And three, because it's a general ledger, it has a source of truth.
It has a source of truth because it is a general ledger. Those are all key benefits and why banks all over the world, financial institutions, financial market infrastructures understand how important digital assets are going to be to the new world economy, right? As centralized finance and DeFi merge together into like some kind of insane thing, some crypto assets are going to have just an extreme value over time because all of these assets will move and live on those said ledgers. Okay, this is an older clip from Jimmy Valley and Zach Rector. I thought it was a good clip to bring up and play. I know there's a lot of new people in the space. So if you've heard this clip already, go to the next clip. There's a lot of other information I have in this video that I want you to see. But if you're new to the ecosystem, this is really going to be a fun video for you. Let me play it.
So the other was the collateralization, basically to, take each bucket of value and try to, just collapse that value onto the XRPL. Then we kind of averaged, and that's what was kicking out this 25,000, 37.5 a coin. One of the things that we've been considering since that time is, there's inputs. You mentioned like how much of a step change this is going to be. So when we move into the digital world, this blockchain trading world, the number of trading hours alone are going to 5x. Okay. And what I mean by that is right now we only trade 252 days a year for about 6.5 hours a day. Right. That turns out to be, it's a little over 1,630 hours a year of actual trading time. When you move into this 24/7 trading time, it's going to be 360 days a year at 24 hours a day, right? So you'd be trading 24/7. That becomes like 8,600 and something number of trading hours. So just the trading hours alone are going to 5x. The efficiency, the internal efficiency of each hour, because of the speed at which these transactions move, kind of at the quantum level, is going to be another exponential increase. And then the number of people that are going to come into the banking system, come into the financial system. You hear people talk about, the 2 billion, roughly 1.5 billion of people in the world that are unbanked. All those people are going to start coming into the system, trading, mobile minutes or other things of value to them that they're currently outside. They don't have bank accounts. They're not inside the system. So all these types of things are going to drive, an increase in the use, the number of transactions, the volume, all that kind of stuff. So those are getting inputted as well as these things I discussed from 2021. We're doing a little bit of what we call generally kind of setting headroom, because you can't just come up with a value and say 2030 about what everything's going to be and then peg it to that number. You got to provide for this expansion in value to increase even beyond that, right? To have a truly stable kind of a agreement on price. That headroom, what we call it, that kind of additional, is to take into account these things like, meteor mining and new technology and space tourism and things that we haven't started to do yet, but the technology is right there. And we will be doing that in 2040, 2045, that type of thing.
Man, there's so much good information that was talked about there. I want you to think about this, right? There are so many use cases that we haven't even considered or thought of just yet, right? As the cryptocurrency market evolves into something completely different than what we're used to today, right? Every market cycle is different, right? We have different things that we are bullish on. People are putting money into, people are placing their bets, because that's exactly what you're doing here, right? This is a brand new economy that is blowing up globally. And as it is adopted throughout the world, some assets are going to reign supreme over most of these assets, right? Brad Garlinghouse said that he believes in the future that 90% of the crypto market won't make it. And I truly think he's absolutely correct. There's only so many use cases that are going to be on a global scale. The rest of them will kind of fall off at the wayside, and the true utility will take over. If you're holding XRP, HBAR, Algorand, XLM, XDC, those assets are going to have extreme value. Axelar, those types of things, man. It'll be really, really insane. This is from Finance Bro YouTube. Let me play it for you.
You everything you need to know. The truth is, once you get what I'm saying here, you'll be able to break this down to anyone. First, we need to talk about XRP's core function. Think about it as a value transfer system, a way to send money all across the world at minimal cost with maximum efficiency. Now, we have a system now that's very inefficient and also very costly. At any given moment, there's $30 trillion in this system, and it's called SWIFT. It's very inefficient, and XRP has a good chance or opportunity to replace this system. In the global banking system, banks around try to send money, but different rules, regulations, and codes make it complicated and slow. That every country, every region has different systems, but we try to tie all that together with SWIFT. And it's very inefficient. It causes a lot of disruptions, and there's a great opportunity for XRP to replace that system. Now, without a system like XRP, it's like trying to move money through those old rusty pipes, leaks everywhere, delays, costs piling up. But XRP is that upgraded infrastructure. It's seamless, efficient, and scalable. And the real kicker here is that as adoption increases, the demand for XRP's utility will only grow. Let's say you want to send $1 million to the UK and you live in New York City. It's cheaper and faster to get on a plane and fly it there. With the current system, it has to go through a maze of middlemen, correspondent banks, and outdated systems. This process is called the cross-border payment system. It's unnecessarily complicated. Now, who pays for that? You do. You pay higher transaction fees. You pay time, 3 to 5 days for your money to clear in some situations, sometimes up to 6 months. You pay by relying on middlemen just to get your own funds from point A to point B. But as long as the system is making money this way, what's the incentive to change it? That's the core issue with traditional finance. What's the solution? This is where XRP comes in. Now, you've probably heard people hyping up XRP online, especially since the big increase in price since Trump's election, throwing out big price predictions. Now, some of it is possible, but some of it is highly unlikely. But let's forget about all those predictions for a second. You focus on utility. Every great business solves a real problem. The bigger the problem, the bigger the business. Cross-border payments, that's not $1 billion problem. It's a quadrillion-dollar problem. That's where Ripple comes in, the company behind XRP. They're essentially the next generation plumber of the financial system. No inefficiencies, no leaks, and no middlemen profiting along the way. That's why XRP is such a massive deal.
Hey, listen, I've played several videos from this person, and that's probably the best one that I've heard. So I like it. He's sharpening his kind of skill set with Ripple and XRP. I would have done a few things differently, but all in all, a very good video for people to truly understand XRP's true potential. All right, so here is something from Bank XRP. Alanba News paper highlights Ripple cryptocurrency payment services in the UAE Dubai license. So here you go. Dubai licenses Ripple's cryptocurrency payment services in the UAE. A new digital asset law is the world's first. By the end of 2024, Ripple launched its stablecoin RL, achieving a market cap exceeding 100 million. The company has 60 global regulatory licenses, including a major payment institution license from the Monetary Authority of Singapore, a trust charter license from the New York Department of Financial Services, and a virtual asset services provider registration license from the central bank. Technology Center issued new laws and legislative. How are you supposed to read this? Like, is new laws and legislation, is it supposed to go through here? All right, maybe I screwed that up. Anyways, if you want to read this, I'll leave it to you to read. We got through some of the good parts. Over here it says, Ashok Al-Swat, Ripple has been granted a license from the Dubai Financial Services Authority to offer regulated cryptocurrency payment services in the UAE, adding to the momentum already building. The country is witnessing a boom in the sector. Here comes the boom. What was that from? Here comes the boom. Man, I'm reliving something in the 2000s, I think. This is Ripple's first license in the Middle East, and the company will be the first provider of blockchain-based payments services issued. The Dubai Financial Services Authority, the DFSA, issued in a statement. All right, love to see it, love to hear it. This is a great other kind of thing that was put up here. I thought it has some value. XRP is already integrated into the new financial system. IMF, World Bank, BIS, SWIFT, ISO 20022. Here is the juice. If you want to read that, pause the video and read that. We are running a little long here. I wanted to get into some other stuff. Here is a Paul Barron put this out. What crypto asset is your go-to for long haul in the crypto investing? Bitcoin 8%, Ethereum 2%, Solana 2%, XRP 88%. Voted by 29,330 people. That's what's up. All right. I want to end it here with the Jake Claver clip, the new Modern Financial Advisor podcast. That's really cool. Mike Langford. It says XRP isn't just a token. It's powering value transfer, just like email exploded communication. Let me play it.
Do you worry about the network or the protocol that you use to send the email?
No.
You don't care. You just know you get your email and you respond to it and send it back, right? And you get hundreds of them a day, probably.
Yeah.
Think about how much mail was sent pre-email, like postal. You might have sent like 10, 15 letters a week, maybe. So the amount of transactions that are going to happen across the economy is also going to pick up substantially when they remove these frictions, just like postal to email. So that's kind of the correlation that I make for most people, so they understand that these are networks.
I love that. That was a good explanation. And then also, look, bears are closing their XRP short positions, guys. You know what is coming, right? You know what is coming. Just keep in mind, we are still in a very speculative market. We are going to have ups and downs. When we reach true utility, you will know. And I will make that video and be glad about it. Anyways, have a good weekend. I hope you're doing well. This video will come out on Sunday. Have a good rest of your Sunday.